So yesterday we reached this point in the conversation that we can get a glimpse of infinity through stillness and rhythm. Now, so where do we take that? Considering also today's topic as we have it is the frame, and seeing if the frame, how the frame adds to the limitation of our perspective.
Would you cite it again?
Yeah, so these are two poles. One is of stillness and the other is rhythm. Now, what else is happening? I don't know if we didn't really frame the whole story. We were talking about these words, and then we held on to these two words, and then we, I think, concluded yesterday's conversation. So, where does this go now? So we have these two poles. We have stillness, we have rhythm.
I think yesterday where I had ended was the idea of stillness. And I think as somebody yesterday was trying to imagine infinity out of stillness. And I think there was a lot of debate over it that whether you can imagine infinity in stillness.
Right, and then we had progressed to this point where we also I mean, I don't remember where we got rhythm from, but so we ended up having uh, this mix. So we had these two things. We had stillness and rhythm, and one of the things that I was thinking about today was that a frame is a range, right? So a frame is a threshold. It's a range of frequencies of vibration of yeah. So now, can we does the frame seem to have something to do with rhythm?
When you talk about frequencies move on a rhythm. So I don't know whether we can link it together or not. But yes, frequencies have a rhythm, no?
Right, but I'm trying to say that uh, let's say you have a frame.
Yes.
The frame is one part of the whole scene. So this part of the scene is a range of uh, coordinates, right? So you could say that from 0 to 100 on the x-axis, from something to it's a range of coordinates that you are essentially defining with a frame. So that's how you are able to get a specific frame instead of all of eternity. So you have everything, but then you don't want to have everything. You only want to have something. So you define a range of coordinates, and you end up with a frame.
Okay.
Now, what does this frame have to do with the rhythm that we were talking about yesterday? How does it? How does this the range of coordinates affect our desire to taste infinity?
Okay.
Dharmesh, you're here? Okay, we can't hear you, Dharmesh.
Yeah, are you able to hear me?
Okay, you're here, right?
Yeah.
So, what do you think about this? What the problem I just outlined?
Sorry, like someone like rang the bell, so I had to open the door. So if you continue, like I'll join.
Right. I was just talking about these two things that we have on the table right now. We actually have three, but
Okay.
for now we can focus on these two. One is a range of coordinates with
Okay.
which we have made this frame,
Okay.
and one is rhythm, right? And yesterday we had arrived at this point that to glimpse infinity, we have
Okay.
stillness and we have rhythm. So, what do you make of this?
No, I want to ask this question. Like when you say the frame is a part of a scene, like we believe the frame itself is
Yeah.
the scene, right? So like, how do I know like what is the scene?
Yeah. That's
Like,
exactly what, I mean, yeah, we don't know. We don't know.
yeah.
It can be defined
So
as again
you are
like
saying,
sorry, sorry.
no, please continue.
Yeah, I was saying that it that way it can be frame again if we come down to the optical thing what we were discussing or what you guys were discussing yesterday. It can be a kind of a imaginary plane which can move from point again like it can move in infinity, but there is a plane, the two-dimensional surface in a way that can be a frame.
Yeah, but what
Okay.
Dharmesh is asking is, uh, as far as our experience is concerned,
Mm-hmm.
we only experience the landscape through the frame. We only see the frame. We don't see anything more, right?
Yeah.
So, and the frame is our perspective, so to say. So, how do we know? I mean, why are we talking about the frame at all? Because the frame is all we know. Is
Yeah.
that
I
what
mean,
you? Yeah.
exactly. Like, how does the scene matter? Like, if I am gonna live only in this frame, like, let me live with it. Like, why are we discussing about that scene? Is what I wanted like ask.
Yeah. So, one of the things that we are talking about uh, here is, ways of getting a glimpse of the scene, right? So the scene is, let's say, infinity here in this
Okay.
conversation, right?
Okay.
So how do we do that? How do we, like in the last few days, we have talked about how to even describe,
Yeah.
how to even begin to describe infinity,
Yeah.
because when you latch on words, again, you have a frame.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's interesting. Okay, maybe it's not linking, but right now listening to the entire thing, I am very interested by the edge of the frame. How, like when you are saying how much can you see, so that how much is the edge, the thin edge which can be defined. I think it can be interesting to look at that edge.
But who defines the edge?
Yeah.
No, obviously it's on the viewer.
So do you define the edge of your own frame?
No, I'm just saying it can be interesting to debate. Yeah, I can define my own edge. Yeah, a
No,
certain
so
way of.
so this frame is your entire perspective, right? So let's say the vision, which is your vision, which is limited by your perspective, is this frame, and your perspective is not something that you can willingly control or configure without some specific mechanisms. And if you have such mechanisms, please share them.
Yeah.
Can you equate the frame with choice?
Yeah, I mean, the framing is a choice, is it? I mean,
Really? Is it?
The frame,
no,
yeah. I mean,
if you,
whatever is framed is the choice. You're choosing because and that's where I feel that you can't say the frame is all you have and that's all you know because when the very fact that you're framing something means that you're aware of things outside of the frame also and you're making a choice there.
Yeah, I think what Malvika is saying is what I'm also kind of interested by the edge where you
Yeah,
define.
yeah.
This is the yeah.
no, but let's say how you look at the landscape is a given.
Yeah, but what you define in that landscape can be your frame. So Malvika is right in a way that we can parallel it to choices.
No, but what I am calling the frame is something so big that it's your entire world, and your entire world is also a frame. So where is the
But
choice
Yeah,
come
that's
in?
what I want to ask
Where
him.
does the choice
that
come in?
for that you need.
I mean, that can be, I mean, the frame can be fluid. It doesn't have to be so definite. And I think Akshay is right. You know, you blur the frame, the edge, you decide. And also, I will link this to this thing of stillness and rhythm. I think stillness isn't completely dead. Stillness also has its own, you know, it's like a uh, it's got its own beat rhythm within it.
No,
Where
I
It
does
may
think
be
what yesterday I
minute.
had a problem and somebody else had also, but somebody else had related it more to the physical world that nothing is still. In a similar way, I would also imagine that's why I had a problem with stillness, that I think there is nothing still. And that is interesting what Malvika is defining, that this edge keeps blurring and appearing, keeps blurring and appearing. So the frame is a continuous rhythm.
no, but I'm still lost here because if I mean I'm saying that from the first time that you ever opened your eyes to now, uh, you have seen the extent of what you can see is already defined, right? And the extent can be defined in terms of wavelength of light, in terms of the map of concepts that you can understand, and all of that. But the way you look at the world is the way you look at the world, and that is your perspective of the landscape. That is the camera on the landscape. It only has one view. Now, how does the camera move itself around on the landscape is what I fail to understand. Yeah, I mean, I'm missing some link, obviously.
No, no, I think what you are trying to define is something very interesting. One can see in a, what you call, when you create 3D worlds, no? You have all
Huh.
these multiple cameras which are rotating and you can go anywhere and everywhere and everywhere. So it does not mean that that 3D world can be infinite and you can have infinite number of cameras inside and you can jump from one camera to another to another to another. So that way you
But
cannot put a frame.
no, but can we jump? I mean, we are in a seemingly 3D world, which is 2D, like we talked about
I
yesterday.
I think we can jump 3D games and the entire vision of 3D world, what one has created in software, it is very much based on this concept that yes, you can jump the vision, no? Jump the frame.
I mean, I cannot jump the frame. For me, every morning that I wake up, the world is still the way that I looked at it yesterday, the previous day.
No, no, no.
So
I think that way we are mixing up. Either you are calling the entire 3D world a frame, or you are calling camera view as a frame. So
my
there.
I'm saying that the if I am the camera, then so the my view, the camera's view of the landscape is the frame.
Yeah,
And
but
how does
that's a little
that
bit.
get switched? How does
But
that get switched?
that can you can move into another state of mind, and it can be another camera altogether. When you use in your practical life, you use so many cameras. You're not stuck with one camera. You use many cameras.
Yeah, but given camera will only be able to look at the landscape from its own point of view. I mean, I cannot change the person who I am in terms of the configuration. You know, I might be able to change the flavor and the the
No, no. So
clothing.
that again, you are putting the other way around. That you are talking then about a film. That how that chemically will react with light is a different thing. How does the light falls on it is through a frame. So again, we are mixing up three things here.
I think the way you can move from one view to another or one camera from another is through learned knowledge and experiential wisdom.
Okay, but how would that work?
So the more you learn stuff which is already discovered by someone else, right? So whatever we are learning in books and everything, that's learned knowledge. So the more knowledge you gain, your perspective changes, or the vision inside the frame changes, not the frame itself. I'll come to frame. Okay, so you were talking about the edge of the frame, right? And Malvika said it's fluid, and I think that's very interesting. And the rate at which the frame changes or the frame expands, it again depends on your own knowledge and your own already discovered by someone else, right? So whatever we are learning in books and everything, that's learned knowledge. So the knowledge you gain, your perspective changes, or the vision inside the frame changes, not the frame itself. I'll come to frame. Okay, so you were talking about the
Do
edge.
we have an echo?
Yes,
Yes.
we do.
Fluid.
So that's yeah, it's fine. I
The
think
rate at which the frame changes or the frame expands. Satya, you have to mute it for a while.
okay, Satya, I had to mute you because there was an echo. Sorry, yeah, we'll just get through this.
So to sum it up, I was basically saying, so there is a frame, but then the boundary of the frame changes at the at the rate at which you assimilate knowledge and wisdom through experience. That's one thing. And the other thing is how the vision inside the frame itself changes. So the frame expands.
Okay, Satya, I had to mute you because there was an echo.
Yeah, I got it. Now everything sounds fine.
Yeah, now it's good.
This is really interesting. It's like time traveling.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a delay. There's some delay.
Changes at the way, at the rate at which you assimilate knowledge and wisdom through experience. That's one thing. And the other thing is how the vision inside the frame itself changes. So this frame expands. Okay, Satya, I had to mute you because there was an echo.
Oh my god, this is a loop.
Yeah.
This is really interesting. It's like time traveling. Wow.
There's some delay.
Hey,
Knowledge and wisdom
Should
it's like Moses' voice has gone into space forever.
it's part of white noise.
Okay, Satya, I have to mute you
Oh god.
This is really interesting. It's like time traveling.
Hey,
So are we just sitting and listening to this?
It's a loop of time. Let's try and break the loop by continuing
like
talk.
Moses' voice has gone into space forever.
Oh God, there's more that's getting added with each
Yeah, I
person.
think we'll have to log out and come in again.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So I'll.
No, yeah, wait a minute. Maybe Satya should just try coming in again because it started when she came in.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gone now, huh?
No, Satya will come back. I think just try again.
No, I'm saying the echo is gone.
Oh yeah, something happened. It's strange. But Sam, what I would say with learned knowledge, I wouldn't say that our perspective gets changed. I would say our perspective gets clearer. So there are parts of a perspective that are blurred.
No. Okay, so our perspectives widens through learned knowledge, and then it gets clearer through wisdom that we gain through experience.
Right.
See, I think it's very interesting the what Moses has said, and I think the analogy I gave of the 3D world, that entire 3D world is a perspective, and it gets enlarged by us viewing it from different cameras. You can see it like that.
Correct,
No,
but what
but
are those cameras then?
yeah, I don't understand the camera shift. That's
No, I think that's very interesting how Moses is saying when you say if I read any author, so while I'm reading him, I'm in his camera view in a way. Like whatever you write, if I'm reading you, I'm in your perspective, not in your perspective, but in your frame, and then I can come back to my frame. But at least you provide me a vision of your camera. You get it?
But when you read a text that I've written,
Yeah.
are you in my frame? In the sense, are you? Do you?
As we discussed yesterday, it can be momentarily, but yes, I can be there momentarily. It's not that I would say I absolutely belong to it, but I can maybe pass through it.
I don't think we can travel at all. We are stuck
Uh,
to our frame. We cannot move out of it at all till we die. I mean, after we die, of course, the frame gets dissolved.
no,
Can we
that's what I'm
expand the
saying.
frame?
Can you please repeat?
I was wondering if we can expand the frame because I keep hearing that there is no way we are stuck. But then I am this eternal optimist that I can step out of it and I can look at it through somebody else, even though that is still my frame.
Yeah, so
No,
what we started trying to figure today was how is there a way to step out of this frame by getting some glimpse or taste of infinity, which is mediated through stillness or and rhythm, which is where we were yesterday. So, but that's not entirely clear as yet how that would happen.
Right. Okay.
yeah, I think then we need to really define the frame. Like, I think I'm imagining the frame as this infinite 3D world, or say, forget the imaginary, even our universe, infinite space, which is a frame. If you are imagining like that, because we are born in this universe, so we are born in a frame, as according to your thing. But I think if we come down to the optical view, what we are looking through the camera at a point, at a moment, is also a frame. So it's almost like a frame within a frame, if we agree to that.
Or
Well,
maybe the frames intersect.
Yeah. I think that I will agree with you, Malvika. What that blurring is, obviously they are intersecting, combining, making larger, smaller, even frame within frames, which we many times experience.
Right.
Okay, only things that you choose to follow is in the frame, or even the things that you choose to reject is also your frame. Like, I don't understand that. Like, let's imagine you told like I can like reject few things. Like, but that is also in your frame, right? Because you have rejected them. Like,
Right.
you know that exist.
Yeah, everything that you deal with is in your frame.
Yeah. So then how? Then what are that the contraction and expansion of the frame that we are talking about? So is it like the frame within the frame?
I think it is the frame in the frame the way now till like last whatever we have discussed, we are coming to this point, and that's why it becomes very interesting. How much can you see in a frame within a frame?
No, but even if you have a television in your room, you are still in your room. You know, you're not inside the television. So even if you have a frame within a frame, you are always within the biggest possible frame. You're not in the small frame that you draw within the big frame. You're within the big
Yeah,
frame.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That then we are in a frame within a frame, in a continuous frame within a frame.
But it depends on the function of each frame you're talking about, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
But do we need to bother with any of the small frames, any of the subframes? Because as far as I understand this, I think the bounding frame, the largest possible frame, is what we need to be concerned with, because that is the frame that defines the perspective.
But to get to the largest possible frame, if you are stuck with the smallest possible frame, like for me, frame is my perspective, for example,
Right, right.
if I'm with the smallest, like if I'm a bigot and I'm only seeing bad black people around me, then I'm stuck with that. I need to step out of that, right? I'm not trying to be racist or anything, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, if I have a certain vision, which is a tunnel vision, a narrow vision, that's what defines me. But the biggest frame is always there. And isn't it my job to get, or maybe it is or it isn't, I don't know, but to step out of the...
Right. I think, I would totally accept that, in the sense that it is our responsibility to step into the biggest possible frame that is accessible to us. But after we have done that, so I think that is the whole struggle of liberal culture, in that sense. After you have stepped into the broadest possible frame that you can access, then you are stuck with that.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. You have another big frame then.
Yeah, so what happens to the previous frame? The smaller frame, what happens to that when we move from a smaller one to a bigger one and then to a biggest one?
Those
so is the
collapse,
smaller one gonna still there? So they collapse, right?
I think they collapse, yeah.
Okay, so
Maybe
essentially
become
you're
part
left
of the...
with. So essentially you're left with only one frame at any point in time. Is that what you're saying?
It's like me accumulating layers of knowledge. So now I suddenly realize that these black people are not bad, really. I mean, they're great people. So I've moved to a next stage. So now I'm at a new place where I hate all women, So
So I think that's the largest frame. Like you can't go beyond that. So when you everyone, I think that should be infinity. Infinity is where everyone hates women.
I love it, man. Really, I love it.
So it's stillness. Oh my God.
No, but I think the older frames don't collapse. They become part of a new frame. I think so.
Maybe not the same way we perceive. They can like change the different forms or whatever it is, like, but they still exist. Like they merge.
They exist because they again like what we were talking. No, I don't know whether we were talking yesterday, but they exist because they can again provide us an entry if we want to revisit something in our past.
It makes sense. Yeah. They are the stepping stones. They are the building blocks of the new frame.
Yeah.
Yeah. or if it was a bad frame, it can be also a ditch. So, but they exist in the present frame. They exist.
Okay.
Aditya, can you hear us?
He's on mute.
Yeah, he's on mute, but he can still type. Now,
Yeah,
I just
hi.
want.
Hi.
Okay, so Aditya, we have come to a conclusion that infinity is the state where you hate women. So that's infinity. What's your take on that?
I think I completely agree with that because infinity would be a state where I'm not attracted to the other pole, which means that I am as the pole, as the one pole. I am sufficient. I am non-biased, non-pulled. So I mean, I think there is zero affinity. Instead of, there was a word that you used, Sam. What was that?
What?
No,
Women?
Yeah, women. What?
So you'd be self-satisfactory.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, but aren't we searching for ways to step out of the last port of arrival, right? So you have traveled all these ports and you have traveled everywhere and you've reached this biggest possible frame. And I think what we have been talking about in terms of the glimpse of infinity has been about ways to leave this last frame. What you end up with in almost like a final way. What are the tactics? What are the ways that we still have to escape this?
Escape what?
The last frame, the biggest possible frame that we have arrived into.
Why do you need to escape it?
Because it's still a frame.
Yeah, so we need to step out of it to glimpse infinity, right? This last possible frame is still not infinite.
Yeah.
Akshay, you had said something about being at the edge of the frame, right?
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you had already discussed about what your strategies were. I think there was a question that came up about what are your strategies for being at the edge or for moving forward from there.
Yeah, I was imagining it as a very thin, very sharp place where if you do something wrong, you can cut yourself also, something like that. But more going on the tactile part of it.
I see. Okay. So, because that is like an analogy for me to being at the edge of the frame and then going to the next one.
I think we've come now the other way around. Otherwise, since we were looking at the cameras and the view from there, that's where the edge was getting more interesting to me. But now that we are going towards infinity, and as you had said that the edge is blurring itself all the time. For me, what was imagining at that point was these laser kind of things which define from our perspective. Suddenly a frame and disappears, cut through something.
Because that is kind of like moving from one port to the next port of entry.
Yeah.
So in a way, reaching the largest possible frame is like reaching the edge of the world.
Right.
Hey, I think this is the maximum we can have of this frame, and this is the largest possible view. I think we should make friends with it.
And stop here?
Yes. I mean, there's nothing to stop to.
No,
You don't
so
want to
should
get comfortable though.
Yeah. I mean, we are still restless. We still want to go.
I'm not restless.
I think
I want to go somewhere.
First, Prayas, I have two things. I think first, either we never reach this large frame as you are talking, or we can imagine that the last frame also is not a problem. And I think the second thing is, I think when you reach that, I think at that point you only reach that when you become part of it. I would say something like this, where you lose the consciousness of being in a frame. What would you say to that? I think you only go transcend this large frame by either becoming part of it.
Or realizing that you are already part of it.
I think that too we started with the premise of, but
But we don't. But what we experience is the current frame, right? Like we know that infinity exists, but what we experience is what is the frame now.
Yeah, you are also right. Yeah, by realizing that. Yeah.
But if you imagine the, yeah, sorry, just you can please complete. Akshay, you're saying something.
No. I'm just saying that I think trying to draw, as you are saying, how much can you see is it's again like it's for me it's a 3D world. It never ends.
Yeah.
So I don't think so.
Right. So I have this thing, this experiment. So if we can imagine the outside of the frame, so the frame as it looks like from the outside. So either the outside or the back side, whatever is easier to imagine. So at the back side you have this wood or cardboard, hardboard. You have something, and so do you think the frame itself is part of infinity? So the frame itself can see more than it shows us.
No, I think perhaps there is a contradiction here when you are saying if you imagine the background and then the frame, obviously there is a two contrast, and that edge becomes more important, which I think we were talking about earlier, and that's something we cannot lose, no?
No, we have crossed the edge. Now we are now we are behind the frame. Let's say. I mean, we can never go behind the frame, but hypothetically, we visualize the outside of the frame. Now, the outside of the frame can see the outside of. I mean, can see the landscape. Can see the landscape in spite of itself. I mean.
No. I think that too again brings to what Malvika was saying, that wherever you are following, the edge is also following you. It can expand. It's a blurring scene then.
No, you go to the other side. I'm saying you go to the other side.
So hypothetically, even if you do go, if I think of what you're saying, you kind of remove yourself from that frame and look at it from the outside, then you are building another new frame for yourself there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you are outside the frame, but what you are seeing there is
a different frame.
The frame. Yeah, but you're trying to see how the frame looks at the landscape.
That's true. Because you've stepped out of it now.
Yes. So that does.
So I'm saying that even within a frame, we have a link. We have a link to infinity, and that link is the link is through that which binds us.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying. Then that edge becomes more important, no? How do you define that edge?
No, how does that become about the edge?
Because that's the point where you are stepping out, no?
Right. The threshold.
Yeah.
That's the threshold, and that's where when earlier I was talking about the edge. For me, it's a very thin, sharp line which can cut both the frames, and you also. With your experience, with your perspective, it's a very sharp, for me it's a very like laser cut line. It can destroy everything what you have experienced and can give almost everything new. That's what you mean by stepping outside of the frame. So that's why I'm looking at it as a very destructive, not destructive I would say, but something very powerful cut of energy which slices your your experience, your vision, your perspective. Maybe it can slice. That's
But
what happens usually.
so where do we go from here? I mean, so we are in this
I
frame,
think
and where can we go from here?
Where do you
Can
want to
we?
go?
I mean, I think I was still chasing what we had set as our target earlier, and which was to, find a way to negotiate a glimpse of infinity.
So this stepping out of the frame, this threshold, this is reminding me again of yesterday. Arjuna standing at the edge of the battlefield, and I suppose we should just go check out the Gita or something.
no. I think it's interesting by what you are saying that how much can you see. So I think that's why I think, and even the frame would be defined by the edge of the frame. So that experience of that edge is where we should proceed, because that experience of the edge would define how much can we see. If you exist in that
Okay.
edge,
So, okay,
then you
Akshay,
can
what do
be.
you think the edge is?
Sorry?
What do you think the edge is?
No, he said it's a sharp line, but then I always imagine it as a waveform. It's very calm, it's very serene, but then it keeps expanding, and it encompasses everything it comes across.
It's a wave.
It's
Yeah,
a wave. The
I think
edge
it's
is a
interesting.
wave.
Moses, I imagine it as a laser, which is also a wave. And I think it's interesting now you are maybe stepping into the laser. What I was also coming to the point is that if
So,
you exist in that,
lasers are waves?
Light waves.
yeah,
Okay.
uh, I think the infinity what we are trying to chase exists in that edge.
Yeah, but I don't see it destructive. I see it as a very constructive form. It's a wave is very calm, and then it kind of like holds everything together, and then it keeps expanding again. And
Yeah,
Because the way
yeah,
I
it makes
from
everything.
both of you is that one leads to the other. So for me, the edge is uncomfortable, which is like a cutting thing, like a laser. But once I have gone and talked to the edge, once I have
Mhm.
gone and faced my fear of whatever it is, of my discomfort, then it shows me that, hey, you know what? It's all good. Now I'm in the wave, which is serene.
yeah. Maybe Satya is giving a better explanation of understanding the edge. Yeah. Well, I didn't mean by this being destructive. I meant by it cutting some parts which maybe are not
Okay,
needed for
okay.
my
So
point of
it could be okay. So putting together what Satya and you are saying, I think of it this way. So this laser kind of questions your value system, when
Right.
you're right. And then once you overcome that, and then you form a new system or, something that goes within, that aligns or realigns your entire ethical and value system, then you move beyond that laser point, and then you reach that waveform. But that doesn't mean that you won't face the laser edge again.
Absolutely. And that's the
yeah,
next frame.
Right.
yeah.
So is this edge still, or does it keep shifting?
Shifting.
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 Shifting within a range, or shifting like on the wild? It's just moving around.
I think
No,
it shifts based on inputs. Like if there is some strong input that came in, like a huge earthquake, then it'll shift a lot. It could, or it might be a small. So I think it's a bit random.
I see it as this kind of idea of critical mass, as something that holds the essence, the properties, something that has it has qualitative stuff, and which is why it's not very definite again, and so um, it it will, I feel, keep transforming. So whether you call it a
Oh,
shift or it morphing into something else, but it's more to do with its own properties. and it's critical. It's very crucial. That's what
But-
defines.
But do you think it might be a trap?
No, I mean it's why should it be a trap?
No, so the edge might be a trap in the sense that like in a maze, every time you approach the edge,
Right.
it just opens up as another plane for you, right? So, which is why you can never escape a maze, because the edges are actually planes. They're not flat. They're planes. So
That's interesting. So we are talking about moving forward, right? So till now we were talking about this frames being expanding. So is there a point when this frame shrinks? Let's think about what Akshay is saying, right? So this laser edge cuts you, and then you're not able to overcome that beyond that point. So will you be stuck, like in a maze?
It could be, yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, you could be. Yeah, that's interesting.
So in that sense, it
So
becomes an obstacle.
what properties are being cut that you are not able to move beyond?
Sorry?
So what properties are being cut, that holds you back?
It's discomfort. It's like some kind of a inability or unwillingness to deal with the discomfort.
And if you find a peace with it, then you can get closed in a way, isn't it?
Exactly. That's true.
Yeah.
So, okay. So let's say you have a very strong set of principles, okay, and then you come across this edge, and suddenly, people say, open-minded and everything, but that's sometimes it could be an euphemism for that's against your principles. Right, so at that point in time, you take a stand and say, "Nope, I'm not gonna do this, whatever." And so, from what we are saying, it looks like a very negative connotation that you're being stuck. But if you look at it from the other side, it looks like that you're standing for something that you believe in.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but
And
those
who's-
principles themselves. Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying those principles are the edge then.
So, but the edge is in that sense guarding us. Those principles are guarding us. That edge is guarding us. So, if you are skating in a rink, you don't want to be able to skate off the edge.
Yeah.
They
So-
are guarding us, but there is a risk of being closed in by the guard.
Correct. It also, yeah. So it also depends on what's on the other side, right? So if the other side is so green, so alluring, then probably I would go there.
And maybe I should fall off the edge and find myself
Correct.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe you throw the skating shoes off and you can run around. Yeah.
And test it.
True. Which means you totally discarded your earlier
So at the
frame.
very least, we need the edge.
Edge
You
is a
need
very, very interesting testing point.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But at
And
the
I
very
think
least,
all
we need.
I think we are always pushing it. So
Not everyone is though, right?
I don't know that.
Yeah.
No,
Sorry?
but we need holes. We need holes in the edge. Like if
So
the
we can
edge
just
has
see through it.
holes.
No, but I think that Satya defined very well that the discomfort are the holes and the principles are the edge. So when you are discomforted is where you look for
That's
the
that's
hole.
the.
But then a lot of
But those
people
are the
don't
holes.
have the holes. I mean, people don't even, they might ignore the holes. They may see a hole but ignore it.
No, I
Even
don't
the
think
hole-
discomforts are the holes.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah,
that gives you a
discomfort
vision
is
of what's
what
on the
the
other
edge
side of the edge,
causes us.
that's a hole. Correct.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't get it.
No, discomfort is a feeling of you being tested on the edge. But
Right.
the whole is something else. What gives you the vision of the future of the testing process? What is that?
Yeah, you are right. You are right. Maybe discomfort is.
But the discomfort is what is going to create the rift in the frame. So you look through the other side. So if you engage with the discomfort long enough, you will have a hole appear.
Huh.
Yes, agreed.
No, but the
Oh,
discomfort
no, no,
is
no, no,
what
no. If the
the
correct, if the
no,
discomfort is too much and it's persisting, then I think the frame becomes stronger.
Could become shaky.
Yeah.
but the discomfort is what the edge is causing us, right? It's
Yes, it's yeah.
so it's that is the maliciousness of the frame. I mean, it's whatever. It's the guard. It's the it's the armaments of the frame. But how does uh, how does engaging with the discomfort make it a whole?
Yeah, it's not a
No, no,
whole.
but you engage with it long enough that you start seeing the fallacy or the weaknesses of that you're engaging with you no 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 you engage with the discomfort long enough to see the weakness of the frame
Right,
because you are
right,
so tired. It's
Huh.
like dard ka had se guzar jana dawa ban jana type. You're like, okay, I'm at this place where what's next? What do I do?
right. So when you are engaging with the enemy, you know the enemy really well.
Right.
Right.
So how do you deal with the discomfortness?
Like the edge
How
also
do you?
sometimes.
Hmm.
Sorry. What I was trying to say is like most of the time, what happens is the edge assures you saying that the discomfort is a part of the experience. Like it might tell you the previous examples of other ones living the same way. Like it's also how you see as the discomfort, right? Not everyone would. What if you get comfortable with the discomfort?
Yeah, and that's a trap. Yeah,
Yeah,
Correct. Then
that.
you'll just stay there.
Yeah, then you stay there. Then you don't see a hole at all there, right?
you
Huh.
don't. Yeah, but then there is a chance that, well,
Like, or you might see a hole and then see like it's just not my place to
yeah,
go or something.
that is also there. You don't have the time or the energy to move past it.
So
Yeah.
what is that whole? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, I mean,
Right,
because the whole is what we're interested in, right? I
Yes.
mean,
right,
that's
Yeah.
the glimpse of
exactly.
infinity that we are after.
Correct. Correct.
So I feel that when you reach the edge, it kind of tells you that this is what this is your limitations, and you might not go beyond this. But you somehow know you contemplate saying that there is something outside the other side, but you don't know how to go. Like yesterday we were discussing that there is only three dimension we can perceive, and your mind sometimes might contemplate there is a fourth dimension, but how to go about it is not we don't know how to go about it. Like
Hmm.
yeah, maybe we still need a hole to look through it and then go. I don't know how it works.
I mean, I don't think too many memories exist in the publicly. Too many public memories exist of people who have had a glimpse through the whole of the landscape of infinity, and they have survived to tell the tale.
Yeah,
Okay. So
I
that's the.
don't know. I don't know. Isn't all our cultural histories of all cultures talking about people who have had a glimpse of infinity? I mean, even for example, if you take a Tyagaraja whose lyrics talk about using music as a way to, you know, experience the infinity. So I mean, there is sort of a discourse about it.
Yeah, that exists, and like you have the whole bhakti poetry
Right.
which talks about the ras, and you have everything. I mean, Aditya is here, and Aditya can talk about Kabir and how Kabir talks about the glimpse. But I don't know if people who have had the glimpse themselves have managed to construct a pedagogy for others to follow the same steps and be able to achieve the same results, right? So you
Yeah,
have
that's true.
but that's what I think Buddhism tried to do, and I think that's where the problem lies when you start institutionalizing or
Yeah.
saying that this is the way you can do it. Then it becomes a problem because an individual who has found that something works for them it may not apply to every other individual. It may apply to
Yeah.
nobody else. Absolutely.
Absolutely, and that's the problem with the world, with all the religions.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Sam, let's say tomorrow morning you get a glimpse of infinity. Right.
Okay, hold on. So I think anything that has been documented so far is the largest frame available to us, and what we
Yes.
are exploring is beyond that.
Yes.
Okay, now I understand what the whole is. The whole is all these documented paths that are given to us. Okay, so one by one we go through we go beyond each frame, looking through those holes, following the path that's being given to us, and then we reach the largest frame. And from here, there's no more hole, okay, to see that. As in, as of now, nothing is documented as of yet. So we are struggling to find the glimpse of it.
But Sam, what you're saying is that people follow existing paths. What I'm saying is those holes are for you to discover for yourself. I mean, because somebody says this is a path, and even if you try to look for that path.
No, I'm saying the hole is, these paths are different holes in the wall, okay, in the frame. And then eventually you go past the frame through your own path. Okay, but then this hole gives you the glimpse, gives you the hope that there is something better. So you have to go beyond the frame. But where we are stuck right now is that there is no more hole available, or at least we are not able to see those.
Wait, that would not be stuck if there are no more holes. No, you're right. Okay. In the current frame, you mean?
Yeah, in the largest frame available to us now, there is nothing documented, so we are not able to see that.
No, but what I'm saying is, don't you have to discover that for yourself?
Exactly. So now, since we can't see these holes, so we have to go inward.
Yeah.
But if the inside and outside is the same, right? In the sense, if you are talking about if you're talking about a unitary universe, so if everything is cannot if nothing can go beyond the unity, which is one, then inside is just some version of refracted outside, and other way around too.
Correct. So I think when you stand there and you go inward, then you become the frame itself. You merge with the frame. Then you become infinity.
Yeah, that's what I had said earlier, that I think you cannot define what is the last frame, because last frame becomes you.
Yes.
So that is like holding a mirror to a mirror.
But isn't every frame
in the opposite end? So you will see multiple or infinite images.
That brings me to another analogy. Yesterday I was thinking about, after the talk I heard it again because I had missed my major parts of it. The two-dimensional surface, as the theory which you were talking about. It was very interesting to imagine the surface of water and what fishes view from underneath the water and what we view from on top of the water, and what is that surface of the water. It can be a very interesting analogy to look at that as defining a frame, maybe.
I had a dream once where I was underwater and just for a moment, I could see above it and it was all very clear and there was a sun there. That's what it reminds me of.
So the edge was transparent.
The edge was transparent and it was moving.
And also at the same time it is very reflective, no? If you look from underneath the water top, you see reflection, but at the same time there is something else which exists the other side, and the vice versa happens when we see from top. We see a reflection.
But Sam, the steps that you outlined, so when you look inward and you become part of the frame, and then you are experiencing infinity.
Mm-hmm.
That is, are there steps? Is that a manual, or so can we take your word for it?
I think it's
Call the Pope.
no, if you take my word for it, then I become a whole there. So people can follow that.
So are you a whole?
I'm an asshole, yeah.
No, I'm saying that are you outlining a known method? So you have already experienced something and you're outlining.
No, it's not a known method. This is abstracted out of our 1 hour conversation today. So it could be true. And I mean, you guys can post questions or question me. And then if I can defend it, then probably it's true.
No, so I would say that we should have the rule of law that that you're innocent until proven guilty, right? So instead of being guilty until proven innocent. So I'm saying that we can't really close the question. Because
it sounds logical and fair to me, like stillness yesterday. So tomorrow it could be something else.
Right.
But I have only one question, which is, are you talking about the final, becoming infinity is with the final frame, or at every frame you become infinity?
No, the final frame.
Okay.
So when you can't go, I think so.
Satya is posing an interesting point that you can be infinite in any given frame.
Any given point. That's also very interesting. So I think, but you can't go beyond that frame. So when you become infinite at one frame, then that's it for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're talking about that.
Yeah, but does that that integration with whichever frame you are in, does that give you a similar, or does that actually give you a experience of infinity, or are you saying that that's a version which is limited? That's a limited version.
That's a limited version, but people who are merging at that point, right, the prior frames, they may not realize that there is something beyond it. So they'll be happy. They'll be thinking that they are at infinity.
I think it is very interesting. The entire thing can be put into the analogy of Maya and Moksha. So the Maya is any given frame at a certain point, and Moksha also exists at the same point, and Moksha can be infinite. Hey, let's do the analogy. So you can attain Moksha at any given frame. So I don't think so. You have to transcend to a larger and a larger and a larger frame. That Moksha can be achieved in any given frame of Maya.
But then is a moment of moksha, is that equivalent to having moksha entirely? See, for example, if you look at certain lyrics where they talk about touching divinity or whatever it is, from the bhakti poetry or from various other traditions, that one moment is there, but is that all there is, or will it be an infinity of such moments?
I think there is a it brings in the yesterday discussion of distance. So in the distance of life to death, even if we touch infinity, we continue towards death. So we can, if it's not that it's once touched and you get the Amrit and you are eternal, you physically go on till the distance of death. So like that's what we achieve many times in art. No, we touch that point,
right.
And in either a certain painting or whatever, like at certain moment we touch that infinity, and we put it outside in the world in a physical form, but we continue. We don't stop and say this is my masterpiece and it's done.
Then that's us doing it as us. But once the moment have been, abstractly speaking, if you touch the moment, maybe that's all it is.
But I
Maybe.
think once you touch it, you would want more.
Yeah.
That's the Maya part.
We are the greedy parts, no? Yeah, it's true.
So, okay, so now, okay, extrapolating that, so we touch a point where we don't want anything more, then that's moksha, or that's infinity.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable to me.
Yeah, it can be like again split into many parts. Like maybe it achieves moksha for the soul, but the body has to live on. So I think it can be divided between two: the optical vision and the experiential vision. So experiential vision, if it reaches the infinite point, it is liberated, but the optical continues.
The body is also a frame, na? Like it's a container. So
Yeah,
it's limited.
So are
but
we
the mind is not.
no,
Right.
but are we surrendering our quest in that sense?
Sorry.
Are we surrendering our quest? Because if we describe a fixed way uh, of glimpse of getting a glimpse of infinity, then unless we are able to experientially verify it, we don't know if what we have framed, what we have stated is true or not. So that is the danger of stating, of course. But I mean, I'm wondering if by having multiple possible modes of touching infinity, be it in a point or through a hole, where do we go? Where do we reach then?
Where do we reach in the sense how?
So we have
Uh,
described these ways of these ways of possibly uh, getting a glimpse of infinity, and unless we verify one of those ways of doing it, we are not sure if that's where we need to stop. So
no,
how
no.
do we? Yeah.
I think we don't stop. That's what I'm saying. I think even if we touch it, we cannot stop till the physical body is alive. So you continue. You continue.
Like when you reach that point, does the concept of movement still exist? Like, do you have to like move and stop and all those things?
Yeah. Do you have motivation anymore to do anything?
Right.
Do you have motivation to breathe?
I think as Moses had said, yes, you. I think you want to because I think I don't know how to define it, but you only become part of that frame by leaving. It happens physically by leaving the body. You become part of that frame somewhere. But it actually happens in life when we remember any people who are no more there. They are part of the frame, what we exist in today. When somebody dies, he becomes part of our frame. So physically, it happens like that. But
Right.
experientially, I
No,
think it
but
happens.
outside of dying, I mean, we cannot we cannot talk about death as a possible strategy, because once you die, you're not here to
No, I'm not saying
enjoy.
that. No, I'm not saying that that's the strategy. I'm just saying that if even if we achieve at any moment to touch the infinity, we continue further. We keep touching it again and again, again and again.
Yeah, and
We
I
are
think you
assuming.
don't. Yeah, sorry. Go on.
Sorry, no, go ahead. No, no.
I feel that the very fact that Akshay said you're touching it, you're not staying there. You're not going and just plonking yourself there. You're just about managing to reach that point, and then you're immediately moving away from it. And because there's that constant movement, you're not able to hold on to it. And I think that's motivating enough for you to try to look for it again.
Yeah, like you were citing Kabir. So Kabir didn't stop. No, he continued till his physical being stopped being there. So it's not that he touched once and that's what it was, that he wrote only one poem. He continued writing.
So the
So
motivation was still there.
sorry?
The motivation was there.
I doubt he was motivated.
No, the thing
I
is,
doubt it.
Why do you say that?
After touching infinity, motivation still remained.
I won't call it like motivation. That brings in our modern thing about that you have to be motivated. You have to
No,
be
I'm not talking about that either. I'm not talking about management philosophies at all. But
yeah.
no,
So
okay.
that's why I think it's the wrong thing to say that he was motivated.
No. Here is the observer. So we are looking at it from a third perspective. So for Kabir, probably like whatever you're saying, wherever he touched that infinity, could have meant nothing to him. So that's why he kept on going forward.
Yeah.
and the thing is, we are talking as if we know what it means to touch and then moving from there. But if we never touch, then we don't know what will happen next.
Right. And I mean, I think where we are, we need to, in that sense, worry more about how are we going to touch and what are we going to touch and what is the address of the point that we are going to touch, right? I mean, going beyond that is actually losing the plot.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So as you had said, no, there is no pedagogy for this kind of thing. It's like I think there is a Kabir saying only, that somebody picked up a diamond and he had no clue of what is this diamond and he threw it and he didn't realize the value of it. So it's like this. I think this infinite thing keeps coming to us in our frame every day, and we
No,
don't.
but in the absence of a system and a pedagogy also, I mean, we still have to do something with our time, right? I mean, we need to do something that we need to do in that sense for it not to be an empty search. For it
No,
not.
I think that way Satya and Moses both were discussing, and it was interesting that discomfort with the edge is what has to be continued in
Practiced.
practiced and introspected and discussed in a way, and that's what which defines how much we see that discomfort.
Yeah, but like Dharmesh was saying, if you manage to find a cozy corner of the edge which is not causing you any discomfort, so
Yeah.
so
but
I mean, I'm saying that I'm basically asking if discomfort is a sign. Is it a sign? Is it a necessary sign?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yep.
I feel that way too. I mean, there is something that is not feeling right, and there is a
Yeah.
desire to find out what's next.
Yeah.
A sign of what? A sign of
Of being at the edge. A sign of being at the edge.
being at the edge, yeah.
Yeah.
But not of infinity.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, the quest, basically.
Yeah.
So I think it can be interesting to see this discomfort as defining how much we see.
Yeah.
So I think we should stop here for today. We have crossed our hour, and I hope to see many of you, all of you, tomorrow night. Tomorrow it's earlier. It's 2 hours earlier than the usual time. So it's at 7 p.m. Indian time and not 9 p.m. Just for tomorrow.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Okay.
Why?
Just because someone wanted to be a part of it, so I
Okay.
was flexible.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you were going for the Brazil match or something.
Germany and France.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
Germany
what
and
Malvika
France, okay.
wants to go for.
I am in France, man. So they are going to be crazy.
Oh, I'm
there.
in Germany.
Yeah, I'm in Germany.
Yeah, I am in France. So we both are fighting.
Yeah, good.
Let's define the edge tomorrow, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good night.
So I think
Bye.
it was
Bye, all.
interesting. I think. I don't.
Yeah, we'll talk
I
tonight.
think this discomfort we can discuss further.
Yeah, I mean that's where we stop. We stop with the discomfort tonight.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank you all.
Bye, guys. Bye.
See you tomorrow.